we're recording, but it don't really matter. Now it does. Alright, so, welcome to the first podcast in about a hot minute, brought to you by SpaghettiOs.
With Franks.
With Franks, of course. Like, who is not eating their SpaghettiOs with Franks? So we got a special guest today, one we've been hyping up for a bit on the podcasting world. Tyler.
Hey, man, what's up?
Well, as you know before, we were talking about pedophilia.
Yeah,
but pretty good, and we'll get into that pedophilia conversation, man. But first off, care to give a little info about yourself, my dude?
Well, I'm a teenager whose only friends are 18 years old or older, like Tanner. So that's kind of weird.
A little.
Yeah, I like music a lot, so I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about music, but yeah, that's about it.
Got my jewel. So happy. Yeah, that's Tyler. So, I actually want to continue that conversation. So, for those, obviously no one was listening because we weren't recording, we were talking about how societal standards have, or should change at least. I feel that, and this is a very hot take, that because 13-year-olds are being fully developed bodily-wise and they're being thoughts on the internet, that our society should at least acknowledge this fact. I'm not saying let's, lower the age of consent so 13-year-olds can fuck 35-year-olds. I'm just saying let's allow 13-year-olds to fuck other teenagers. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just going to put that out here right now so that, in the future this doesn't come to bite me in the ass. This is just Tanner's opinion, not mine.
No, this is just my opinion, and I'll accept the backlash from it. I'm not a pedophile, by the way. I would never fuck a 13-year-old. I think that is disgusting. I'm saying, a 13-year-old should be able to fuck a 17-year-old. And there shouldn't be, any cultural stigma behind it. Or a 13-year-old should be able to at least flirt sexually with a 15-year-old. I would never hit on a 13. I think that is morally wrong. However, no, there is no.
But when in your logic, when is the age that you should cut all sexual relations off?
With 18-plus-year-olds, how do you
I mean how young? Because you're saying 13-year-olds.
I don't think there
obviously nobody's gonna be going after a 6-year-old.
Right. I don't think there should be I think the cutoff is prepubescent. Adolescence is when people start getting these emotions, getting mad horny. As I talked to you before we started recording, 11-year-olds are beating their dicks now. That's how it's been for a bit now. I'm sure it's been like that forever. But biologically, that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly fine. However, culturally, that's fucking gross. And I think that's fucking gross, thinking about 11-year-olds beating their dick, because I'm an adult. However, it's perfectly natural.
I get it, and if 13-year-olds want to fuck other 13-year-olds, who's gonna stop them?
Right.
But in my honest opinion, I think that everybody should wait until they're at least 16 or 17.
I think that's fair. I think that is a fair assessment.
Because what happens when a 13-year-old gets knocked up? They don't know anything.
Right.
Even a 16-year-old doesn't know shit about
Well, maybe a solution, and I know this is all hypotheticals, maybe a solution would be to actually give thorough sexual education to younger prepubescents.
Yeah, that would
because
work.
I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest with the folks, I didn't know anything about sex until I looked up porn.
Yeah, same.
I didn't know anything about pussies or dicks or anything until I watched Mia Khalifa porn. Weirdest porn I ever watched, because Mia Khalifa's not the prettiest woman.
Yeah. That would work, though, if we had proper sexual education.
Right, and this goes upon the edge, and that's another issue, just talked about that on past podcasts. Educational system needs to be fixed. The whole system in general needs to be fixed. But these are talks that should be going on once the system's fixed, but it looks like the system's not going to be fixed anytime soon. What are these things? Ethical harvest? Is this a turkey target?
Yeah, dude. You shoot those and it has little fake blood packets.
Oh, that's so dope.
And they're
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I like how it goes up
I'll have
to
to let you shoot those later.
Absolutely, bro. That sounds fun. We were listening to some music earlier at my place. We smoked a little bit. Not fucking crazy amounts.
Yeah, not Cheech and Chong.
Right, but we're I'm a little high. I'm listening to music. What kind of genres you may listen to, Tyler?
We were listening to some alternative. I like alternative music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying like alternative in the sense of Smashing Pumpkins, although I do like them.
Well, I think that would be considered like almost like
it's kind of grunge, kind of punk. It's like new metal. You can't quite pinpoint what the hell it is.
The post-punk genre, it's just a vague term. It's super. Because there's a lot of things that are considered post-punk. A lot. Too many.
Dude, speaking of new metal, what the fuck is new metal?
New metal?
Rap metal? Like...
Well, it varies because, like, you see...
Because Slipknot counts as new metal sometimes?
Right. Pantera is considered new metal.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It is.
When
System
I think
of
of
a
new
Down.
metal, I think of, like... System of a Down is. I think of, like, Fred Durst and...
Right, like Limp Bizkit.
Yeah,
that's
Limp
what
Bizkit.
a lot of people think.
Because that was like the first.
And even Beastie
new metal.
Boys is considered new metal, which I would never consider them. They're rap, but it's a super vague.
It's
genre.
anything that's just slightly harder than like hard rock.
It's something slightly harder than rock, but not heavy.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's what they just.
If you added the heaviness to it, it would just become thrash.
Mm-hmm. I love Jules. Don't do nicotine, kids. It's a slippery slope. You end up doing cocaine.
You could.
You could, very easily. I like to listen to some pretty experimental shit. I'd say I've been listening to a lot of like electro swing lately. Now I've been watching the anime Cowboy Bebop. You want to know how to like trick a non-anime fan? Tell them, hey, have you read the Cowboy Bebop manga? There is no Cowboy Bebop manga.
That's like the definition of Matt.
Right.
I don't like anime, but I really like Cowboy Bebop. Why, Matt? I don't know.
It's just so good. Well, the music, there's a certain dystopian retro space vibe. It's so good.
Yeah, but we are also talking about the guy whose favorite band is The Doors.
I love The Doors.
Yeah, but that's the only music he listens to.
It's depressing.
The Doors.
It's so I hope Matt listens. There's so much better music.
He doesn't though. All he listens to is The Doors. Every time I come over, hey,
and then he complains why
Blues
he complains why he's depressed. Like, I love The Doors. I think Jim Morrison is one of the greatest songwriters of our time.
I don't know how you couldn't be depressed in his setting. He smokes weed all day and
smokes weed,
plays
works, and
video
listens
games,
to The Doors.
Watches YouTube. That's it.
He lives my lifestyle, and for those who are aware, I'm very fucking depressed. I live on a chemically based diet. Essentially, it helps me from not dying.
Remember when you said you wanted a nice echo room?
Yeah, this is really
Dude,
what I was
when you
going
just
for.
laughed, I heard it buzz the snare.
I love that.
For those who don't know, I have a drum kit and
we're essentially recording in an actual
bedroom.
Studio. This is essentially
a studio with a bed.
You should get some like styrofoam for like soundproofing.
That shit's expensive though.
Go to Home Depot,
I
it's
figured
super
it would
cheap.
be like $1 per pad, but
Nah, bro, you just need regular ass styrofoam. Go to Home Depot, get some regular ass styrofoam, and you're set.
Yeah, that does work. I've also heard egg cartons work.
I've heard that too.
I'm not putting egg cartons.
I would
like
fill some egg cartons with like some insulation. Maybe that would work. Because it is
Some,
all about like how
silicone
the
or
sound
something.
echoes. Yeah. But I listen to some alternative shit. My preferred musician currently is this guy named Kevin Parker. He runs a solo project called Tame Impala. A lot of people have just become aware of this artist because of his last album, The Slow Rush. It went #1 on Billboard for alternative music for 26 weeks. That's a long-ass time for people who don't know. Yeah, he basically pulls a Paul McCartney Wings, like, solo album, every album for, like, 10 years now. His earlier work really gives, like, Beatles vibes. Like, his album Inner Speaker...
yeah, they are. It is pretty.
It is,
vibey.
and that was kind of the point he was going for. But then he kind of got into his own vibe, and I think his best album is 2015's Currents.
Yeah.
The best album. The Less I Know, the Better is a perfect song. I don't think I've discovered many perfect songs in my day. That's one of them.
Dude, you know what amazed me?
What's that?
Speaking of just like putting out albums.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I didn't realize how many albums Willie Nelson had.
Isn't he have like 69?
He has an album, at least one for like every year since the 50s.
Damn.
It's nuts.
I heard he has 69 albums. Is it around that or is it more?
It's got to be around like late 60s, 70s.
Damn. How does he do it?
He smokes a lot of weed. That's how.
Like, I love music. Tyler and I work on music a lot, just like jamming and shit. But like, I couldn't imagine being Willie Nelson.
It's because he smokes like a pound a day.
Fuck that. Like, I smoke maybe 3
He's like 90 and he still smokes more than
I smoke like 3 grams a day, but I couldn't imagine smoking a pound a day. Like, oh, fuck, or even an ounce a day. Fuck that. That's a lot.
People always ask me why I listen to Willie Nelson, but I hate country. I don't hate country, but I just can't. All right, I'm gonna put this out there, and this is a touchy subject. I don't think white people should make music as often as they do because they don't have the means of.
But blues, though, like white blues musicians are really like folk music, man.
Oh yeah,
I
do get that, but you have to
where-
understand that all of the music that was innovated on by white people was made by mostly African Americans. African Americans know how to. They don't know. It's not like an instinct, but they've been through so much hardships in the past. Like, think about where fucking, like, those slavery.
Right, like
they used to sing
Elvis
songs
literally
and-
went
yeah.
to chapels, watched these black choruses go, and that's what inspired him. I understand where you're coming from, but like, also, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because a lot of the musicians I listen to are white.
Now it's different, but I'm talking about like 70s and before.
I think that there should be more credit given to the precursors, like there should be more credit given to the black musicians who inspired these 50s and 30s rock music, like these musicians. Yeah. I really do.
I'm not saying that like because black people made like the earlier forms of rock and roll that white people should not play that. That's not what I'm saying. I love fucking Leonard Skinner. It's one of my favorite bands, and that's the most Confederate shit ever. Pantera, my favorite metal band. They literally had Confederate flags in their backgrounds. But
I think you
what
make
I'm
an
saying
interesting
is
point.
like I don't like the music that white people made. Like Like think about pop. Like the poppy shit that just has not changed since like.
Well, think about the Beach Boys.
2004.
We've talked about this before. The Beach Boys is some of the or the Mamas and the Papas, some of the whitest shit ever, and that's not bad.
It's fine. I like it, but it's just boring.
It's just it's overly white.
And that takes me back to my country point. I can't feel the country music. Like when I'm listening to jazz or something like that, I gotta be bopping and I'm like swinging myself.
Foot's a tapping.
Yeah, I can't vibe to country music. I can't wiggle my booty or bang my head. It's just like
I usually
drink
don't.
my beer.
I usually don't
rode
wiggle
my
my
tractor.
head and like dance to Johnny Cash because Johnny Cash is just like I'm so depressed. I wake up every day. I smoke a cigarette. I cry.
But that's why I love Willie Nelson because you listen to his earlier shit and it was jazz oriented country.
Folk. I love folk music. I can't listen. I love Willie Nelson as well, but I can't really listen to Johnny Cash anymore because it's just so depressing.
Yeah.
It's so fucking. And I understand like what he's right. It's like Johnny Cash's music, except for like the General Lee. I love the General Lee song, but his music is like the first iteration of emo.
Country emo.
It's country emo. So you mentioned Confederate flags. That reminds me. Usually when we interview someone, we try to get their political views. As people know, I am a progressive. I'm technically a communist, but we can't say communist because it's legal to be a communist in America due to the Control Act of 1955. We don't talk about that. So what are your political views, Tyler?
I'd say I'm closer. I'm not gonna say I'm like independent or anything because I personally don't think that is really a thing. You always lean left or right.
Right.
In some way. But I think I'm very middle, but I am a little bit right-leaning towards libertarian.
Now, do you mean libertarian in the American sense or the European sense?
American sense.
Ugh.
So, like, basically, I don't agree with the Republicans, but I'm still on the same side with them, and my vote does not matter.
See, I would consider myself a libertarian in the European sense, which is socialism, for those who are not aware. I understand why people have political views, but I feel that people just need to be more unified as citizens in our country. There needs to be actual change.
Dude, you said socialism, and now I'm just gonna have to say this outright. Um, that is exactly why I am just barely right leaning, because I fucking love capitalism. And
I love capitalism.
That is the most Republican thing I can say, because I just want to make as much money as I can.
See, here's a misconception that socialists don't love capitalism.
Yeah.
These people are thinking of communists. Communists don't love social. I fucking love capital, bro. My jewel, bro. I love my jewel. I love going to the store and seeing 15 types of Oreos.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that.
I think democratic socialism would benefit America very, very well, and I think Bernie Sanders is a right step in the direction. Maybe not fully.
I don't think it should be as radical. Yes,
I don't. But... Yeah, exactly. I don't. Well, I do, but not yet.
I agree with free education and shit like that.
See, there's a process called the stepping stone process. We could not just immediately go into a narco-syndicalist society. No, if we are gonna do that, we would have to take these steps, and democratic socialism would be a pretty good step into that. And America has the capacity to do it. Karl Marx, when writing the Communist Manifesto, referred to America as a promising area for a utopian society. And I agree. I think America is great. America's awesome.
Yeah.
America's fucking dope. It's the only place where you can say, I fucking hate Nazis and I want their heads on pikes. It's really the only place you can say that.
At the same time that you can also be a Nazi.
Right.
People give a shit, but they can't do anything
right.
about it.
America is fucking awesome. I feel like our Constitution is some of the most left-leaning shit at, if you actually interpret it at face value and don't care about any of the American ideology, it's some of the most, the Enlightenment era in general was some pretty left-leaning shit, because these people were super woke, and I hate the word woke. I fucking there's a stigma behind it, oh, you're woke, but it's interesting. I'm going to try converting you, man. You're I'm not. I think libertarianism is great. I consider myself a libertarian. I love individual freedom. However,
it's just we're on different sides of
right, right, exactly. I think that individual freedom should not oppress other people, and I understand. I fucking love capitalism, and I really want to convert you into a democratic socialist. Because capitalism's fucking awesome. I love going to Walmart. I just don't love the way it abuses it abuses the people in general. Working a dead-end job sucks. It shouldn't suck. And under a democratic socialist society, it wouldn't suck as much.
You know how sometimes by association people ruin things for you? Mm-hmm. I think socialism, the concept of it, has been ruined for me just because of William Dale Vasson III.
Oh yeah.
When you think of socialism, most people think of Bernie Sanders. When I think of it, I think of, hey Tyler, I'm gonna vote for Bernie Sanders when I can because socialism is good.
Oh no, for those who don't know, I voted for Joe Biden. I voted because Bernie or Busters make me want to slit my fucking wrist. If it's Bernie or nothing. No, I believe in a democratic system. I believe that, the worst of two evils. And I don't necessarily like Biden. I do not like Biden at all. However, there's some strategy to this. I want people to see how shitty Biden is.
Yeah. That's what I've always tried to tell people. That, politics don't matter. And everybody's oh, it does. It does matter. This affects your whole life. I was like, yeah, but no matter who gets elected on either side.
That's because of the two-party system. I believe we need a third party. I believe we need I think AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, would be a great candidate for a third-party candidate. In the future, she needs to develop her viewpoints first. She's a fucking rookie congresswoman. Of course, she's saying some pretty radical shit that only appeal to the hardcore lefties like me, which I think is awesome. But she needs to get appeal to the moderates like yourself. Would consider you a moderate.
Yeah.
From what we've talked in the years, you're pretty moderate. Which there's nothing wrong with that.
I just really don't give a shit.
Right, that's the moderate viewpoint. Yeah. I'll vote for whoever is, I think. Like, I don't really fucking care.
I don't like, in this setting, I don't mind talking about politics. Like, when me and you are just, talking. But I really hate talking politics to anybody who just is ignorant, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You have to be open-minded.
It's not to say that they're wrong, but no matter what, they're right.
They're closed-minded.
Yeah.
You have to see it goes back to the Greeks and the creation of democracy. I think ideally democracy is great. It's been twisted and contorted into some amalgamation that is awful. American democracy is nothing near Greek democracy. Hellenistic democracy, I should say, because Greek democracy is not like Greek democracy either. It's easy, and it's very easy for fascism to pop up, and there's a reason that most democratic societies have a little bout of fascism. You saw it in Germany, you saw it in Italy. These were relatively democratic societies. It's the fact that fascism spreads really easy. And I'm bringing this up because I do feel Donald Trump is a fascist.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm not saying that he's going to try and kill, 3 million Jews. I'm not saying that. However, he is trying to, block every single immigrant from entering America. And he is killing Americans by not giving us a stimulus. He is directly killing Americans.
I can see that, but at least he does not have the means to convert everybody to nationalism, like most fascists have in the past. Because
it would be very scary if Trump had the charisma of Hitler
anymore. Because think about how Hitler, converted everybody into Nazis. He was just like, "Oh, Germany's great. We lost this war, so." We just gotta rebuild. We gotta
in a relentless propaganda machine.
And everybody was like, yeah, because they were mad at the war.
Right.
Now, if we lost the war big time like that, I'm sure it would be pretty easy.
Oh, there already were American Nazis. In 1939, I do believe, the Madison Square Garden rally that had 3,000 Nazis, it was definitely a promising thing.
Back then, they were also closer to straight immigrants. First or second generation Americans.
But I'd be super scared if Trump had, any of the abilities of Hitler. I'm not trying to hype up Hitler by any means. Fuck no. Little known fact, a Jew here, I think
Hitler had
a set of skills.
He was a great leader until he started, doing the meth.
It's just like the Voldemort quote from Harry Potter. He was a great person. A terrible, terrible person, but a great person.
Yeah. It's
hard to underestimate the influence Hitler... It's hard to dispute the influence Hitler had on millions.
Even currently, there was no proof that he was a sweetheart in the beginning. That's why the German people loved him.
Hitler was known to be lazy. He was vegetarian. He was a chill dude. I'm sure that if I was having this conversation with Adolf Hitler right now, him and I would agree on a lot of points because he was a sociopath. You see, he was a bold-faced pathological liar. He did anything to make anyone like him. I think that's an awesome trait.
There's a flip side to that, too, because, think about Gandhi. So many people think that Gandhi is this great person because
Gandhi was a drunk.
He was a drunk.
He in his early years, at
least.
Many
women, too.
In his early years. I mean, Gandhi, of course, went all zen. But in his early years, when he was, in college, he was a fucking partier. He was a real Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Real Chad. I fear... I'm a political science major. I'm going to school for political science. I really fear for... I feel like we're experiencing some fall of the Roman Empire type shit. I really feel that we're at the precipice.
Hey dude, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it's...
Isn't that game just about or not about...
Oh no, it's very much about how capitalism exploits everyone.
Yeah, isn't the backstory, there was nuclear fallout or something like that? Everybody just kind of went into debt.
Cyberpunk being based off the tabletop RPG, it was written by a very progressive dude, hardcore socialist. It's just about how capitalism exploits you.
The only big city left is Night City.
Right, and it's hard. it's hard to be like, well, capitalism doesn't exploit you because, like, look at Google commercials, bro. Look at a Sprite cranberry commercial. It gives you these nostalgic feels, like, oh yeah,
like LeBron James
like,
wants you to drink Sprite cranberry.
LeBron James,
think about
the
all those
absolute
2000s kids who grew up watching LeBron,
right?
Or the kids now who are like 6 or 7 and see LeBron on the Lakers,
fucking dunking, getting triple doubles every game, like. Capitalism very much brainwashes you into thinking, I love this product is great. I'm not saying that these products aren't. I fucking love Sprite. However, I'm just thinking that maybe capitalist corporations shouldn't have control of the entire society in which we live in.
I think if they have the means to do that, to be able to capture you, they're completely allowed to, but I do think in the way that capitalism fails is the monopolies. You know, small businesses don't get to rise up. I think everybody should get their chance.
I think where capitalism fails is that it doesn't allow the ordinary man to have a share in the company in which he's working for. There's an idea called super capitalism. It's socialism, but it's described in a way where capitalists would be like, well, that sounds cool. I would love to get in it more, but it's like a super long essay, and I can't fucking remember it. I'm kind of high.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea, because most people already are socialists. It's identity politics.
Yeah.
You think people are against Medicare for all? People are against free education? You really, no.
There is a downside to just, suddenly...
Our taxes are going to increase anyway, so what's really the downside?
Yeah. Downside is the fact that the American government pulls in so much money from educations and healthcare.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If we just kind of stopped, it would put us pretty far into debt. Even though we're already $7 billion in debt.
See, I understand. I don't think that's an issue with America. See, we're America. We basically can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
If there are countries like Norway that have these things, why the fuck don't we? We could have had these things back in the 1940s. FDR was pushing for this.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of support. But one side of Congress was like, nope, we don't want to do this. And thanks to the way the democratic system works, it got gridlocked and then just thrown away. FDR was pushing for this shit. We could have had Medicare for all decades ago. But nope. Moving the topic from a darker situation because we're on the brink of civil war. Moving the topic away from that, back to music. Kevin Parker's Tame Impala. Pretty fucking dope. MGMT. Have you listened to any more of them, Tyler?
A little bit.
See, what albums have you listened off of theirs?
I don't remember the names of the albums, but I remember some of the songs.
What songs do you like?
I like Kids a lot.
That's a good one.
What other songs do I like? Man, I don't know. I'm a little bit flat. I can't remember things.
Fuck.
Dude, I got a good fucking music thing. Mm-hmm. Alright, so, as you know, I really, really like metal. Like, all kinds of metal. I don't care if it's new metal, thrash metal, power metal. For those who don't know, power metal is like Dragon Force. I like death metal. I like black metal. I just like metal, alright? And, there was this band I was getting into. I forget what it's called. Mm-hmm. But it's this Norwegian, black metal band. Like, one of the first. And, dude, this is the most horrible, story ever to a band. Alright, so, this band had this lead singer that was, really, really depressed, and he just shot himself one day. And so the next album cover for that band was the picture of his dead body.
I know what band you're talking about.
And, when they ask, in interviews about it, all the band members are like, yeah, it's just metal. And we don't care about that fucker. It was just metal. This is the most metal thing we could do. I don't give a shit about him. I don't miss him. But, deep down, these are his best friends that he's known since, high school. So, they have to feel something, right?
I'm sure. However, I'm gonna propose an argument. There's also the same kind of feel with like heavy drug user communities. Like if one person is at a party and they OD, the people continue fucking partying.
Oh yeah, but like, dude, just metal is just so scary to me. Like the whole metal culture. Because think about the guy who killed Dimebag Darrell.
Mm-hmm.
He was just an ex-Marine who had a lot of mental issues and decided to kill his favorite guitarist because he left the band. That scares the shit out of me. Like, it's just crazy. This is like it's only metal music that has like these crazy ass stories.
And apparently John Lennon.
Yeah, and apparently John Lennon.
Apparently John Lennon fans of
But
notoriously psychopaths.
like, think about thrash metal and shit. Like when people think of like demonic metal, they think of like Slayer, right? But
Slayer ain't shit.
That's just a bunch of white dudes, like neo-Nazis and shit, just like banging their heads around, starting a mosh pit.
That's like saying that...
Like when I think of a Satanist, I think of blue hair, piercings everywhere, slits on his wrist because it's emo, and then like, but when I think of like death metal and black metal, I think of paganism because they're not satanic, they're pagans.
Pagans are awesome. I consider myself a pagan.
That shit is scary though, because like when I think of pagans, I think of fucking Vikings. What did Vikings do? Took land and killed people because A, their gods said they could, and B, who's gonna stop them?
That's early Vikings. Later
Vikings.
Oh
yeah, I know.
But
still, like
the Danish conquest, bro, was fucking
think
brutal.
about how crazy this was. You know, they were just killing people, loincloths, spears and arrows made out of flint. All these native people, and then you think of like what they came in on. These big wooden boats had like good armor, like
literal
whole
steel.
axes and swords,
bog steel
against flint and steel, and like nobody could stop them. So they were just like, yeah, let's just get more land.
I consider myself a pagan. I had been to pagan rituals. They're nice. The Nordic, specifically the Danish mythology, really tickles my fancy. I love the idea that there are 9 different realms, and we are currently on Midgar. I love that idea, but heavy metal fucking terrifies me. Like actual heavy metal. I love that echo.
Yeah, with the bass drum.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Fuck, I had a topic in my head.
Let's talk about movies, dude.
Oh, so I got Carter to finish Uncut Gems.
Yeah?
Yeah, he said he loved it. I've been trying to get, context, my friend Carter, I've been trying to get him to watch Uncut Gems for like 3 months now.
It's a good movie.
It's super good. If you haven't seen it, fucking watch it. It's on Netflix. Like, people say Adam Sandler can't act, watch Uncut Gems.
Dude, I got a really good...
Bro.
What are you doing?
I don't know, I just like waving my arm.
Oh. I got a really good topic to talk about because this has been something that I've like always wanted, but they just don't exist anymore. I want to get like a movie projector and actual film to go with it. Like I'm talking like watching Kubrick films. Like projected, but film just does not exist anymore. It kind of sucks because everything's digital now.
Yeah, that does kind of suck.
Even back to I don't even know how far back the VHS tape came along, so probably after, like, what, the 30s or something like... Nah, 40s or 50s probably.
For what?
For VHS tapes.
VHS tapes were, like, the 80s.
Not... Because, they were watching that shit in the 70s, dude.
I mean, I guess the Betamax was invented in the late 70s, and the Betamax is the kind of spawn of the VHS, but the VHS is really fucking new.
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking about then, Betamax.
The Betamax is really new. The Super 8 projectors were really cool.
Yeah, but they stopped making them after like the 60s.
That's because it was really the quality was much better on the VHS, and yeah, there were. So that reminds me. Like half of the silent films that were made don't exist anymore.
I know.
We have no archive because there was the MGM fire in 1920, MGM fire again in like 1980, Universal fire in 2008, and like 80% of silent films don't exist. one of the most famous cases is Bela Lugosi's The Phantom of the Opera. It's considered one of the best classic golden age horror movies.
Yeah.
It's iconic. Like, if I showed you a picture of what the man, you'd be like, oh, I've seen that before. It's fucking iconic. 80% of that movie does not exist.
This really sucks because, like, Quentin Tarantino warned people about this in, like, I don't know, 1995 or something like that. So this was a good 25 years ago. Like,
we have no
back when
archive.
he was just rising up in like the movie business.
Like, for those who
he was talking about, like, oh guys, we need to like make all of this digital or else it's just gonna be gone. We have to keep this alive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What do you know?
Right.
Don't have anything.
For those who maybe didn't get what we were saying, 80% of movies made from 1914 to 1929 do not exist anymore. There is no archive. They are not preserved because of fires. Because the aluminum, the magnesium on the film reels are so fucking flammable that literally you show light to magnesium, fire.
They combust. Like, it's crazy.
Crazy. And, yeah, no, we really need to start preserving, because there are a lot of reels out there still, like Taxi Driver, like, there are a lot of movies on reels that could catch fire.
Yeah.
It's very sad. I like silent films, like the artistic integrity of these movies. This was before Hollywood got like super mainstream.
Yeah.
So like these were just amateur filmmakers making movies whatever however they wanted. There was no standard.
That's why I like Kubrick, dude. I was like Stanley Kubrick's first film. It's like a 6-minute short about a boxer. Like, it goes through like, he wakes up in the morning, goes to train, and he has to fight at night, and he knocks the shit out of this guy. And that's the whole movie.
I like Andy Warhol's experimental films. One of my favorites is of him eating a hamburger.
I think the best way to explain how I think movies should be is... Alright, so here's a little Seinfeld background for you.
Mm-hmm.
In like season 6 or something like that, they were going to film the show Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Like in the actual show, because they had the pilot written and they couldn't think about what the actual pilot should be about. And George goes, nothing. Jerry goes, well, what do you mean, George? How can we not write nothing in this script? And he goes, well, what'd you do today? Well, I got in my car, came over here. That's a show. That's a show. Seinfeld made an episode only about sitting in a Chinese restaurant waiting for a table. 35 minutes of that. Like,
yeah.
And that is the most successful, arguably the most successful sitcom ever.
Yeah.
And the most popular.
I'd certainly say one of the most popular.
And, if they can get away with that, anybody should. I think it's a wonderful idea that you can just film anything and there will always be an audience for it.
I completely agree. This is really comparable to the porn industry. I hate to like change the topic so abruptly, but like for those who don't know, the people are into like everything. Like there are people who are sexually aroused by balloons, lunars. Pretty big community actually, believe it or not. But it's the same thing with film. Like, if these sleazy ass porn directors can make shit porn and like get 50 million people to watch it, why shouldn't an amateur filmmaker be able to like just record a dude walking on the sidewalk smoking a ciggy?
Yeah.
Like, and then it get like critical acclaim. Now I'm not saying to just like film everything. No. Like, of course, have some meaning in what you're filming. Like,
yeah, like that whole...
Like that episode of Seinfeld, they were making reference to the fact that people have been watching 6 seasons of basically nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
I just like that idea of a show where it is just Jerry Seinfeld's life before he was famous.
Mm-hmm. It's everyday stuff.
Like, he gets up, calls his girlfriend, Kramer walks in the door. Kramer, get out of here! But Jerry!
This is before Kramer said the N-word.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I was watching a Dave Chappelle thing about that. No, he was doing stand-up at the same place. That's what it was, the Laugh Factory.
No.
And he looks behind here and he's like, every time I see that logo, I think about when Kramer fucked up. Yeah, the black side of me said, "What the hell, Kramer? You can't say that." And then the comedian side of me said, "Damn, he had a bad set."
Yeah, because, like, comedians fuck up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's bound... especially, like
you have a bad day, you got drunk the
anyone
night
making
before, you're a little bit
content, like,
hungover, and some
I
guys
fucked
heckled
up
him.
so many times. Like, there is audio that I never wish, if I become famous, people dig up, because I'm fucked. Like, the beginning of this podcast...
That video of me skating on your YouTube channel, I hate that video, because that was, like... the first time I picked up a skateboard and I was just goofing off the whole time. But I've gotten so much better now.
Nice.
And, like, I just hate the idea that is out there forever. And that everybody's gonna see me doing this.
Oh, shit. With the Bob Ross theme playing.
That.
There's audio. The echo. I love that. There's audio that I never want people to hear. Like, I said some fucked up. Like, the beginning of this podcast specifically, I hope that never...
Guys, I'm not saying I'd fuck a 13-year-old, but I think the age of consent should be...
I mean, to be fair, Joji said some equally fucked up... people tried to cancel Joji. For those who don't know, what was it, last summer? People tried to cancel Joji because of... Believe it or not, Joji was a YouTuber called Filthy Frank, but a lot of these people didn't know that for some fucking pretty big part of his career.
I'm really surprised that iDubbbz never got called out for saying...
Oh, half the shit he said.
He said the N-word so many times.
Cunt, he said I don't mind saying cunt, because, like... But he said the N-word, he said cunt, he said faggot, he said it all.
Oh, yeah.
He said it all. He said kike, he said everything.
And he said it, like, just out of nowhere, like...
Sup, cunt.
Yeah. And nobody gave a shit. Because he didn't give a shit. That's the thing about cancel culture. You can only cancel people who are worried about being canceled.
I'm not worried.
Like, if I said the N-word right now, yeah, I'd be like... People would hear this, and it probably wouldn't make me look good, but at the same time, if you don't care, they're not going to be able to shut you down.
Morgan Freeman said it best. In a 60 Minutes interview, the interviewer asked, "How do we defeat racism?" Pretty fucking stupid question to ask Morgan Freeman, an actor. Morgan Freeman simply said, "Don't talk about it."
Yeah. Dude, there's this one...
don't bring it up.
There's this one dude interviewing Samuel L. Jackson, I think after Hateful Eight.
Ooh.
And he was
that
like...
had to be a real fun interview.
How do you feel about, like, Quentin Tarantino's use of the N-word? You've been in, more than one of his movies, and he uses it frequently with the hard R, and he goes, "What N-word?" The guy's like, the N-word. No, if it's...
Does my garage say dead nigger service?
He was like... He said something along the lines of...
and that's a quote. I'm not saying it to be racist. That's literally, Does my garage says dead nigger storage?
Samuel L. Jackson's like, well, if you can't say it, then don't talk about it.
Right. And
he's like, well, isn't it offensive? And Sam just looks at him and goes, "Are you black?"
See, context matters. Firm believer in that.
It's not like Quentin Tarantino is going out and saying the N-word on the streets. He's using it in movies that use the N-word. Think about Hateful Eight. Takes place, 10 years after the Civil War. Of course, somebody's going to have to use that word.
Right, people still say the N-word.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's just stupid to me that, I don't know.
I agree. I agree. I think that the easiest solution is the Morgan Freeman way. You don't have to fucking stop, most of the woke people I know say some of the most, the liberals would consider some of the most racist shit ever. I say some of the most, if you heard me talk, just out of context, I say some pretty edgy shit. I'm an edgelord. I say some real, I say retard a lot.
Me too.
Not because I fucking hate mentally challenged people, no. It's just edgy.
My problem is, my dad and my uncle and even on TV, I used to watch South Park and stuff like that. You could say faggot, you could say retard. Nobody, you couldn't say the N word. So I don't use that one often.
You don't hear me go say the N word like it's the fucking hottest thing on the block.
Retard and faggot, I use those words very frequently, and I don't mean them like when I say faggot. I'm not saying that in the sense of I hate gay people. I'm saying it in the sense of, dude, you are retarded. And the same thing with retarded. I'm not saying that is to mentally disabled people. I'm saying that is to you're a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. Completely agree. And there's nothing wrong with being either of those things. Like,
yeah. I don't have any. My brother's gay. Like,
I'm fucking bisexual. Like, people who don't know, I'm pretty fucking open to sucking a dick.
I don't care what the hell you want to put in your bum bum.
Right.
Or stick whatever you have or where.
Gotta stop this bed. It's fucking. My ass is hurting. My legs are quaking. My knees are shaking. But no, it's cancel culture. It's so dumb. They cancel the wrong things, or try to. There are things that should be canceled. Yeah, for fucking sure. Like blackface, I think that's fucking kind of dumb. Now I love Dave Chappelle doing whiteface. I think that's hilarious. I just think that if we're gonna cancel,
but Robert Downey Jr. did blackface.
I think that's bad. I mean, it's awesome. I think if we're going to cancel one, we should probably, ideally, cancel all.
Yeah, but he wasn't meaning it in a racist sense.
Oh, no, he most certainly was. It's just the movie was satire.
But,
he certainly there was racial intent. It's satire, though.
I think if it's just to,
See, this is my point. It's like, if you can't cancel one and then love the other, either it's nothing or everything. And I'm for in favor of either. Like, I could give or take. I love watching Tropic Thunder. It's my favorite satirical movie. However, I would be perfectly fine if they're just like, no more. I'm like, alright.
I go with the most sensitive comedic approach ever. And not sensitive in the fact that I'm sensitive. Sensitive in the way that this is a very sensitive subject for everybody else. Mm-hmm. I think that if you can make fun of it, you absolutely are welcome to.
Yes.
I think
there should be more trans people doing trans jokes. I really do.
Dave Chappelle does trans jokes. Those are some of my favorite skits of his.
Right,
I'm not transphobic in any sense.
I honestly think people who are getting, of course, if it's in a really genuine, hateful manner, of course, that's fucking awful. Appalling. Jokes are jokes, though.
Yeah.
You think if Jerry Seinfeld did a bit on, noticing how black people do stupid things sometimes, that people would consider him racist? If you actually think that, we are having the wrong conversation.
Oh, most people would think that, but then you look at a Chappelle
White
skit,
people do stupid shit
he can make fun of anybody.
Right,
and he gets away with it because he's black.
Right.
And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be making these jokes because I love his jokes. He's my favorite comedian ever.
I'm just saying, let everyone make jokes about
everybody or nobody.
Exactly.
And if nobody's making jokes about anybody, then jokes aren't funny and you lose all comedy.
Right. Comedy, by definition, is taking a mirror and looking at the world in a humorous way.
Think about it this way. You know, if it's what do they call it when the kind of comedy where somebody just gets hit in the nuts or something like that.
Slapstick.
Slapstick. That.
That's offensive as fuck.
That's really offensive. You know, you can't just walk over and just hit somebody in the nuts anymore because that could be taken as,
For one, that's assault.
Yeah.
For two, there's obvious reasons you can't just go slapping people in the dick. You can't.
Yeah.
No, it's all or nothing, and I think there should be more trans people doing trans jokes. I think there should be more Asians doing Asian jokes. I think there should be more Asians doing white jokes and whites doing Asian jokes, and vice versa. It's all or nothing, and I think we shouldn't be criticizing comedians for telling jokes when there are literal fucking Nazis out there.
Yeah.
When there are literal Nazis marching on Washington saying, if Trump doesn't try to overthrow the election, we're gonna revolt. I think there are bigger issues in America right now than maybe Dave Chappelle is racist. I think there are some pretty bigger issues. Again, moving the topic on from that, I love that extra bass. I love that speaker. Sadly, we can't play music because playing music on YouTube now is a fucking felony, and I'm not trying to go to jail for that.
It's a felony, though?
Yeah, there is a bill that passed that makes potentially copyrighted music and copyrighted works a felony.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was passed along with it was a omnibus bill, omnibus being multiple things. It was passed alongside the stimulus bill. 500-page bill that Congress was supposed to pass in one day. Didn't have time to read it. This is why I say there are issues in our democracy and why we need actual radical change. When there are bills passing that make playing the Bob Ross theme a felony. I can play a cover of the Bob Ross theme, but I can't play the actual good version.
Yeah. We should just make covers of our own songs to put on there. Guitar Hero 2 style covers.
Yeah, that's how they got away with. It's the exact. I honestly, like, it's annoying. It's why I haven't uploaded in a while. But since I'm with Tyler, I've been wanting to do a podcast with Tyler for a while. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this video. Because if people have seen my videos, they know I'm known for some wacky fucking edits.
What if you take a copywritten song and just like in post, put it up like a pitch higher?
YouTube's Content ID is so good that they would detect it.
Really?
Yeah, YouTube's Content ID is really good. I played 5 seconds of a Rick Astley song, and YouTube was like, "This video can't be up here at all."
That's nuts.
It's fucking ridiculous. But you have people on here pirating whole ass movies, and these videos have been up for 10 years. I watched the entirety of Fat Albert yesterday, solely on YouTube.
That's funny.
But hey, I upload 5 seconds. I upload 5. God damn it, I did it again. I upload 5 seconds of a fucking man. I upload 5 seconds of a video, and I have a copyright strike now. Yeah, a person with 26 subscribers has a copyright strike. Don't ask me how. I don't fucking know how, because I edit my videos pretty wacky enough so I can evade the copyright system. But YouTube's Content ID was so fucking good that it was like, no. So now I have 1. If I get 2, that's it. If I get 2 copyright strikes, that's the end of this channel. I'm done making videos. So, I give it a year.
Just send everybody else to another channel.
Yeah, I could try that. I've talked about that in previous videos.
I'd say start one now and get everybody subscribed to that, so then when the time comes, you just upload on that channel. I
honestly might. I mean, it's the Leafy strategy. You're gonna get caught eventually, but like, it's fun while it lasts. I honestly might. It's very scary for content creators. That's why a lot are like jumping the boat to Twitch. A lot. Because Twitch, while having a lot of restrictions, has a lot less. That's why I've been streaming every day on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamezar. GEMECZARR. Gamezar. Yeah, it's fucked. Drugs. Drugs are fun. Been using a lot of drugs lately. Potentially might be kicking my caffeine addiction. So you're addicted to nicotine now, Tyler?
No, I'm not yet.
Good.
I just get like a few hits of somebody's Juul or whatever at work, and that's about it.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, I know that's how it starts, but I'm not addicted yet. I don't have withdrawals, so I'm good for now.
I don't have withdrawals either. I still.
I could go a good month without anything.
Could never. I mean, I could. I just can't think. I can't fathom it.
What the hell is he doing? You hear him like stomping around upstairs?
Little do you know, it's cock and ball torture.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, cock and ball torture is some pretty kinky porn. Not that I watch that shit all the time. It's just really fucking kinky.
holding them like this and.
For those who don't know, I had on my school laptop a bookmark tab. That bookmark tab was the Wikipedia page for cock and ball torture.
See, alright, I have to give a little backstory for you. If any of you see Tanner out anywhere, if you just see him in person, you want him to do something really stupid, just beat him in a Rochambeau.
Sure, just rock, paper, scissors, and if I lose, I'll
I guess same thing for me. That it's like...
It's an inside joke Tyler and I have, like... Just fucking rock, paper, scissors, and...
It's a very, very sacred thing. Like,
yeah, it's
if
very
you lose,
sacred.
you have to do it.
Yeah, there's no pussying out.
Alright, let's do one right now. Obviously, we can't...
That whole can of SpaghettiOs. You gotta eat it.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Paper, scissors, shoot. Oh,
yes!
Damn!
Okay, so for
Can I at least heat it up?
Yeah, of course. No, cold
right.
SpaghettiOs. So you're about to hear Tyler...
I'll eat this later.
No, you gotta do it for the podcast.
Now? All right.
Or for the podcast.
All right.